The whole word is a living being endowed with a soul and intelligence, wrote Plato in a dialogue on the origin and immortality of the soul. The word is a single, visible, living entity containing all other living entities, which, by their nature, are all related. In this mesmerizing passage behind me, the Platonic idea of the soul of the word appears for the very first time on the large horizon of Western thought, and as if influenced by one of the main themes of the Timaeus, metempsychosis, the idea reincarnates under many names and many shapes over the centuries, as the anima mundi of the Stoics, for example, down to Imagine by John Lennon, which could possibly be thought as an hymn of the soul of the word, sung by every living being through the mere circumstances of being alive. If in the humanistic age the word had mainly a soul, in the scientific age the word has first and foremost a brain. Between the 19th and the 20th century, the same idea turned theory is now called superorganism. A superorganism is described as made of independent individuals collaborating with such proximity and intensity that they become an all-encompassing organism, quantitatively superior to the sum of all its single parts and qualitatively different from each one of them. The idea was called also word brain, an iconic name given by a visionary writer, H.G. Wells, a sort of gargantuan neural web where each neuron is a man, and each synapse is one of the human bond that ties one man to another man. Other names were human hive or noosphere, a sort of hyperuranic atmosphere of the thought surrounding all the planet, or global mind, or well, collective intelligence, which is the name by which it is now widely known and discussed. But after all, despite all these past and present names, collective intelligence has always existed. And it is as old as man himself, as earthly as the appearance of the Homo sapiens 13,000 years ago. The first of the many names of collective intelligence is language. Think of any language as a gigantic, living organism, hundreds or thousands of years old, which evolves through time together with words and their relations. Think of any language as an infinite and prehensile mind, always collecting and connecting every single thing men know about themselves and about the world around them. The etymology of the words is the Weltanschauung of the collective mind, and the modification of the original meaning of words marks the incessant changes of its thought. Language is a relentless God in perpetual recreation of the word. All is predicted by the dictionary, said once a great poet. This omnipotent collective intelligence, which is the language of an entire population, has created much more than this or that author, almost all the great literary works of the antiquity that are, as a matter of fact, collective works of art. From the Iliad and the Odyssey to the Gilgamesh saga, from the Bible to the ancient Roman theater, from the Gargantua and Pantagruel to the Chanson de Geste and the Nordic epic of the Kenningar. Consequentially, we might think of ancient poetry as the invention of a technique to conjure up and control this capricious god of language, to finally tame this enormous and dangerous superorganism. And poets are exactly this. They are patient tamers of the living being called language. They are magic hypnotizers of the collective mind. Metrics is the echoing labyrinth where the poet tries to entrap the wild beast of language, and rhymes are the chains. But at the beginning of every act of poetry, the first attempt for the poet at nailing down the creature always uses the most simple, the most common technique to impose an order to chaos: the list. The list is the irresistible structure of poetry, because in the list the word is at the same time name and number. It is counting and recounting. The word is undivided as it was in the beginning. All languages, in fact, show that counting and recounting started as the same thing. Raconter in French, narrar in Spanish, erzählen in German, tell in English, all had originally the meaning of counting, enumerating. Can you hear the Latin word enumeratio resonate into narratio? Enumeration resonate into narration. So the poet starts to count and recount, to enumerate and narrate. The Iliad, the very foundation of Western literature, starts with a long list of ships. And the whole Iliad might also be read as an increasingly complex display of techniques in order to subjugate the god of language, in order to have the language doing things more and more complex and potent. The poet starts to count and recount, and the language obeys. If once there were as many collective minds as there were languages, nowadays there is just one collective intelligence as there is just one language, ever becoming more unique and more united, more vast and various, and merging together horizontally all the national languages, and merging together vertically all the different ways of expression: writing and drawing, speaking, playing, filming, in one digital koine, in one digital common language. Have you ever thought that through the screens of our electronic devices connected to the internet, it is as if we saw collective intelligence as through a glass, darkly? One day, the 20th century might be studied also as a long and variously successful attempt, culminating none other than with the internet, at channeling and exploiting the huge and still unknown power of collective intelligence in different fields. In the field of politics, to start with, what is democracy, after all, but the self-crowning of the collective mind? Think also of the participatory constitution of Iceland, written collectively by tens of thousands of citizens who sent tweets and posts and emails to their government while writing the constitution, In economy, the stock exchange, with its open outcry market, has always represented the application of collective intelligence to economy, and the modern stock exchange market, with its silent millions of traders, is the new market of a global village that never sleeps and never shouts. In the field of knowledge, H.G. Wells, who coined the expression word brain, also wrote in 1936 how then current encyclopedias failed to adapt both to the growing increase in recorded knowledge and to the expansion of people requiring information that was accurate and readily accessible. Wells wanted more and more people to participate in the collection and the production of information. Wells wanted the word brain to create what he called a permanent word encyclopedia, a depot where knowledge and ideas are received, sorted, summarized, digested, clarified, and compared. Well, isn't it a perfect description of Wikipedia 70 years before it was founded? And in the field of technology, collective intelligence has created Linux and a number of open source programs. Now, after collective intelligence has been applied to politics, economy, knowledge, and technology, there is still one major field where it can be applied, or reapplied, I should say, in a new and powerful way. This field is now literature and the arts, having to do with that new language that we have called the digital koine. The Global Hamlet is an attempt at applying again collective intelligence to literature and the arts in general. It is the first great experiment of a people's edition of a literary work. It is thousands of people all over the world translating, annotating, and illustrating William Shakespeare's Hamlet. The project will be open to everyone and free for all. Through an innovative website, everyone will be able to contribute with texts, images, sounds, video, both classical and original, while a team of expert editors will constantly collect and select all the contribution, assembling them all together in an unlimited commentary to the unlimited poem. The Global Hamlet is the crowdsourcing of literature. It is a monographic Wikipedia of a single book, constantly edited, annotated, and illustrated by its own reader. It's a Babelic Linux codec of literature, simultaneously written by thousands and thousands of programmers of the world. It is drawing a pair of mustache on the text that has been called the Mona Lisa of literature, with a fine brush moved by the hands of the word. The Global Hamlet is, of course, a reference and a tribute to Shakespeare's Globe Theatre and to his idea that all the world is a stage, which has never been as true as today, actually. But Global Hamlet also refers to global village becoming author and actor and producing its collective works of art. And this project is a literary format. It is the first prototype in a library of collective classics, in a catalog of collective works of art. And these collective works of art will not only be global, extended in place, but everlasting, extended in time. Works in a continuous metamorphosis and movement, with publication merely being the photograph of one moment in time. They will be living works. They will be living books. A living book being a work in progress where the progress is part of the work, where the progress is the performance. Global Hamlet wants to be the stream of the collective consciousness. Thank you.